Good day to you.
Are you happy with your new workers?
They're good carpenters, but someone constantly...
Really?
Yes. When I'm there with them,
I've heard.
I don't know what I'd do without Thomas. He keeps an eye on everything for me now. The mill wouldn't function without him.
Well, but Thomas has problems with carpentry.
You're right. You should hear him cursing when he has to turn his hand to it. He knows he'll never be a real miller.
What, just because of that?
No. He's not too skilled at handling the water wheel and the mill run either. He can wield a shovel well enough, but otherwise I have to keep telling him how to do things.
So he's not been foreman too long then?
No. My son used to run the mill, but then his wagoner returned with him inside it. It'll be a year ago now, come spring.
I'm sorry.
Me too, boy. And after Martin was gone, the other workers left and only Thomas stayed. I don't know what I'd do without him.
What happened that day? Wagons don't overturn themselves.
He was transporting new stone blocks for the mill and he had to take a detour. Since the wagon was too heavy for the ford, it was after a downpour. The load must have slipped and the whole wagon fell on him. I pray it was quick.
So he was alone, with no one to help him?
Of course not. Thomas was there too. He helped Martin to load the wagon in Sasau, and both of them set off back.
Just the two of them? No one else was there?
No, they always did it that way. Martin didn't like dragging people where it wasn't necessary, when they could be doing work elsewhere. But if I had been there with them, maybe he'd still be alive. Thomas couldn't pull the wagon off him. He ran for help, but it was already too late.
I'm sorry, but I'm sure he's in God's kingdom now.
He was a good boy, a kind soul.
Have you been without carpenters for a while?
A long time. Since winter, it's been just me and Thomas.
Nobody stays around?
No. These days, it's hard to find a man you can rely on. Young lads today are bone idle. None of them wants to do an honest day's work.
And how many have actually worked here?
About half a dozen, maybe more. We always put up with them till the most urgent work was done, then sent them packing.
And what about Jane? Shouldn't she have a husband by now?
What are you trying to say?
A pretty girl like her is ripe for marriage.
With a large dowry because she comes from a mill? Well, she had herself a man once, but he ran away during the winter. He wasn't up to the work either.
And how long did he last?
You know, he was here for a while. But back then my son was a foreman and he was a kindly soul. Too kind. He never threw anyone out.
So everyone started leaving when Thomas took over?
Well, Thomas is a dog on slackers. And just as well. Maybe it's harsh, but that's what you need nowadays. If we don't mill, folk don't eat.
So the moment Thomas became mill foreman, everyone started running off? Not one man could stand it here, even if they had a chance to marry Jane. Don't you think Thomas might be doing it on purpose? Sounds to me like he's after the mill, or your daughter, or both.
That's not like him. He's a good man and straightforward. He knows I can always send for a new mill foreman.
And Jane?
Don't worry about her. She'll wed whoever I approve of, even Thomas if he asks for her hand. At least with him, I know he won't leave the mill.
Indeed, why would he, once he's got rid of everyone else?
That's enough. I don't know why you're trying to slander Thomas, but I don't mean to listen to it any longer.
I heard what you asked my father. You can't expect help from him. He's none too sharp these days.
And can you help with it?
No. Nobody listens to me. But I wanted to say that Thomas does do it on purpose. He did it the same way before.
Why?
Because he's afraid if someone comes who's more skilled, Father will notice and give his job to the newcomer.
And your father lets him? Can't he suppose?
He probably could, but he doesn't want to. My brother was the mill foreman before him, but last year a wagon overturned on him, broke his back. It broke my father too. And Thomas was here the longest. He was always close to my brother, so father chose him as the mill foreman.
And Thomas doesn't listen to anyone. Can't you persuade him?
No. He keeps looking my way and tries to be nice, but he doesn't care what I've got to say. When I tell him something, it goes in one ear and out the other.
And this probably won't end well. And what happened to your brother?
And what does that have to do with this?
I don't know. You mentioned it, so I was just wondering.
There's not much to tell. A stone block that was loaded wrong, slippery ground after rain, and when the wagon overturned on him, there was no one around to help.
What do you mean, no one? Surely he wasn't alone.
No, he had Thomas with him. But Thomas couldn't lift the wagon off him, and by the time he found help it was too late. And as if that wasn't bad enough, someone robbed my brother while Thomas was looking for help.
Someone robbed him after he was dead?
I don't know. But they took a mottled scarf which I gave him as a keepsake. He laughed when I gave it to him. He said it would make him look like a fop, but he still wore it all the time. And someone must have thought it was worth stealing.
But who'd steal a scarf?
Why are you asking me? When they brought him back here, he didn't have it. That's all I know.
I'm sorry about what happened to him.
Me too. But it was his own fault. If he'd brought more people with him, he'd still be alive. He was too kind for his own good.
I understand. You're probably interested in what Thomas was hiding, aren't you?
Certainly am interested, especially in how you came to know.
I saw it as it fell out of his pouch, and
Show it to me.
isn't this your brother, Scott?
That's it. Why did you get it?
As I said, Thomas had it.
He did? And what did he have to say about that?
Nothing. I came straight to you.
Oh. I suppose I'll have to decide what to do about it. But I'm grateful you brought this, and maybe... Never mind.
What is it?
I was thinking you could go to him and tell him I have the scarf. But I think I'll handle it another way.
As you wish. I'll go then. About those...
It's a one.
Good that you're here then. Problem solved. He won't bother you again.
Really? How'd you pull it off?
I found out he has a soft spot, and I gave it a good poke.
I'd love to know what you found out about him.
It doesn't matter. But it was enough for him to pack his things and disappear.
Jesus, it must have been something terrible. So he's really gone?
Yes. Now it's just you, so try not to misbehave.
You know us. We'd never do that. Thank you kindly, Henry. We owe you again. Here, it's not much, but it's all we have.